Okay, 7.1 motivational theories. So, what is the motive or what drives our motivation to do things? Your objective for today is students will be able to apply motivational concepts, by comparing and contrasting, motivational theories. Okay, so the different motivational concepts. First, motivation is going to be your need or desire that drives your behavior. This is different than what we call an instinct. You may also see it referred to as evolutionary motivation. So either or is correct. But what this is, it's an unlearned, fixed pattern. Think of the rooting reflex here. Now, when it comes to motivation, there are two types of motivation. We have extrinsic versus intrinsic motivation. Extrinsic motivation is when you are motivated by an external source or an external stimuli. So this might be money. It could be maybe a special dinner. Okay, it could be extra time on your phone. Intrinsic is going to be an internal motivation. So maybe something makes you happy. You want to be successful. Okay, something internal. So some motivational concepts or terminology that you need to know. First is going to be your over-justification effect. An over-justification effect is that when you get rewarded, it could actually diminish the likelihood of you doing it again. So you get $5 for unloading the dishwasher, but really you just needed $5 to go to the movies. So now you never unload the dishwasher again because you already got your $5. Self-efficacy is your belief in how well you can execute something. So for example, it may be like your self-efficacy. If I was playing in the staff student basketball game, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I can't play basketball. I can't do this because I don't think that I can execute and play basketball because I really don't. Now, some people may have a high self-efficacy in that and say, oh, I'm going to do really well. So it can go one way or the other. It's just your belief in how well you can execute something. Achievement motivation is exactly what it sounds like. You're motivated to achieve. And this motivation can also be something that is repeated or prolonged. So you may have to try it over and over and over and over and over again, but so that you still have that motivation because you want to achieve it. And cognitive dissonance is when we see when you have two or more contradictory beliefs. So think about maybe if we want to go to the Santa example, right? You might have two or more contradictory beliefs. You believe in Santa, but yet there's a lot of evidence that shows Santa's not real. And so this could cause stress, right? So drive reduction theory is the first theory that we are going to talk about when it comes to theories of motivation. And the whole goal of drive reduction theory is to reach homeostasis, which is a steady internal state. So whenever your internal state is not steady, so let's say you're hungry, right? That would be a lack of homeostasis. So then you have the need to not be hungry, which then will drive you to do something, which is the motivation to then reach homeostasis, right? So maybe you are hungry, so then there's a need to get rid of that hunger because you have a lack of homeostasis. So then you're driven to maybe come up with a plan. I'm going to find some change around the house so I can go to McDonald's and order something off the dollar menu. And that's called drive reduction theory, kind of the circle of getting back to homeostasis. Now, part of this is going to be incentives along the way, right? Like you are incentivized. And these can be positive or negative. But the idea is that it motivates you. Another theory in motivation is the optimum arousal theory. And this is what we say is when people are constantly seeking or they want to maintain the highest level of alertness. This may help explain risky behavior. So why somebody might go like mountain climbing. Yerkes Dodson was another theorist, and he said, or the Yerkes Dodson law says, is that performance is best. So you are more motivated when arousal meets the difficulty of task. So it's going to sound a little counterintuitive here, but I promise this is right. If it is a high difficulty, you actually want low arousal because you want to be able to focus. If you have low difficulty, you actually want high arousal because you don't need a lot of focus, so you can be more aroused. And we find that these two are the most motivating factors when completing a high difficulty task or a low difficulty task. Okay, so Maslow's hierarchy of needs. This is another big theory, Maslow's hierarchy. So Maslow said that you have to have this before you can go on to any of the other levels. You can't reach level 5 unless you've met 1 through 4. Now, this is debated because there may be some levels that you aren't at and you can still reach your personal growth and fulfillment, right? So the first is that you have to have basic life needs. This is the biological and physiological needs. So air, food, drink, shelter, warm, sex, sleep. Safety needs. After you have your basic physiological needs, then you have to feel safe. That you are, protected, in security, order, law, limits. There's some sort of stability is usually really a big one here. The third is belongingness and love. So you have to have some sort of a family or some sort of a relationship, a healthy relationship, which if you have all this, then you can build your self-esteem, which means you feel like you've achieved something, you have some responsibility before you hit the final stage of self-actualization, which is personal growth and fulfillment, so that you're growing to be the best person you are. And this is a constant developing as you age, because as you age, that person who you are may look a little bit different. So it's just the idea that of like personal growth, like what can you do to make yourself a better person? Now, there is technically one other level here, right? And that level is self-transcendence. And the idea of this is that there is a higher meaning of purpose of life. Okay. And Maslow would say that we're all reaching to achieve this as our goal. And that is it for today.